live weightlifting event. I'm your host, Richard Mason in Canada, but today some of the strongest athletes from all over the world are going to gather online for an opportunity to compete against each other in real time from their homes, from their training centers, from their yards, from their gardens, wherever they can find weights, a platform, and enough space to lift it overhead. This is the women's 55 kilogram Group C session. Let's meet the athletes. From Honduras, Sofia Aleman, 55 kilo athlete. From Colombia, also in the 55 kilo category, we have Juncar Valentina. In the 55 kilo category, representing Venezuela, Catherine Enchandia. And finally, from Bolivia, Jessica Lee Torres Nunez, lifting as a 55 kilo athlete. There was going to be a fifth competitor in this session, but that athlete has had to drop out due to injury. Our referees for this session, representing Chile, is Italo Baratini. From Thailand, Sirilak Tatman. And from Australia, Lily Koffa will be joining us as a referee. We have a reserve referee. He's in Japan. His name is Junichi Okado. Our timekeeper and marshal is Bowen Stewart of Australia. He'll only judge if somebody has technical problems. This event is hosted by the Uzbekistan Weightlifting Federation as a celebration of the anniversary of the country's independence. The goal here is to promote the real, live, and worldwide participation of our athletes from the safety of their own homes. As usual with a weightlifting competition, each athlete will have 3 attempts in the snatch, 3 attempts in the clean and jerk. You can follow along on our scoreboard. And at the end of the competition, the athlete who's lifted the best snatch their best snatch is added to their best clean and jerk, and that gets the total. Best total gets the best medal, just like any other weightlifting competition. But because this is online, we've had to make some modifications to the rules. I'll tell you about those as we proceed. As you can see, the athlete from Nauru, Nancy Abuke, has withdrawn from the competition due to injury. The time is up. We're going to call our first athlete. Let's head to Bolivia for the first attempt in the snatch in the 55 kilo category. Jessica Torres Nunez, first attempt. And attempt number 1 is in the books. Jessica Torres Nunez, 55 kilos on her first attempt. And that is a good lift. Our next athlete coming up is from Honduras. Her name is Sofia Aleman. She's going to attempt 10 kilos more than Torres Nunez with her first attempt. Aleman, 65 kilos, Honduras, first attempt. She'll be followed in lifting order by Enchandia, Venezuela. Aleman, Honduras, the athlete. "30 seconds for Aleman." Each athlete gets 1 minute to start each attempt. At the conclusion of each of the rounds, we're doing a round system, so after all of the athletes have made their first snatch, we'll have a 30-second interval before we start with the next round. Aleman is on the clock, 65 kilos, first attempt in the snatch. The time has expired on Aleman's clock. She had been requesting 65 kilos. There are 3 red lights from the referees. None of the referees saw a successful lift. They're obligated to press red. Our next athlete representing Venezuela, Catherine Enchandia. Venezuela, 70 kilos, attempt number 1 for her. That sounded like a satisfied athlete, and it is a good lift. 3 white lights from our referees for that lift. Our final attempt in the first round of the snatch for the women's 55 kilo Group C session. Valentina Junkar, Colombia, 75 kilos, first attempt.
Arriba. Baja.
That lift for Junkar is a good lift. 3 white lights from our referees. Our referees, you need 2 good lights if you want to get the lift. 2 red lights means no lift and you're moving on. Speaking of moving on, we're moving now from our first round, successful, into our second round. 3 of the 4 athletes were successful in that first round. We didn't see Sofia Alman come out for her 65 kilo attempt, but Jessica Torres Nunez started it all off with success at 55 kilos. She was followed by Echandia of Venezuela, also successful at 70 kilos, and Junkar, as you just saw, made 75 kilos. The athletes have 30 seconds to make the necessary changes before we start the next round of the snatch for the women's 55 kilo Group C session. Group B sessions and Group A sessions are still to come in competition for this weight category. The time is over. 58 kilos is being requested. 58 kilos will be attempt number 2 for Jessica Torres Nunez of Bolivia. Second attempt. She'll be followed by Alman at the 65 kilos from her first attempt. A little bit of a step forward, but that's not a fault, and that's a successful lift for Jessica Torres Nunez at 58 kilos. We're heading back now to Honduras for the second attempt, 65 kilos on the bar. The athlete, Sofia Alman. Alman, Honduras, 65 kilos. She'll be followed in lifting order by Echandia of Venezuela. Yeah. 65 kilos is a good lift for Alaman of Honduras. Our next attempt is 73 kilos, and we're going to have to go to Venezuela to see that. Catherine Echandia, Venezuela, second attempt. She was successful with 70 kilos just a few moments ago. No luck for Echandia at 73 kilos. She has another attempt yet to come in the snatch. Our final attempt in round 2 belongs to Colombia, and 78 kilos on the bar, the athlete Valentina Junkar. Valentina Junkar, second attempt, 78 kilos.
derecho. Diga, que diga. Baja. Muy bien. So.
I like it when the athlete drops the weight and you see the camera shake. That gives you a sense of how heavy that was. Good lift for Junkar on her second attempt, 78 kilos. Once again, now the athletes and the coaches get to sit down and talk and decide how much they want to take for their final attempt in the snatch. If the athlete was successful, they're given an automatic increase of 1 more kilo. If they weren't successful, it will be the same weight that they tried on attempt number 2. But they still have 2 changes after that automatic increase. So the athletes and the coaches now are making those final changes before they center the bar and get ready to lift for round 3. Right now, our leader is Valentina Junkar with 78 kilos, followed by the 70 kilos made by Catherine Inchandia. The clock has expired. It's time for our third attempts. 59 kilos is being requested by Jessica Torres Nunez, Bolivia, third attempt in the snatch. She'll be followed by Alman, Honduras. Once again, if you'll notice on the bottom of the screen, Nancy Obuke was in this session as well, but the athlete from Nauru in the Pacific has hurt herself and will not be able to join us for this competition.
Vamos. Estírese, veloz, 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 asegura, 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 quieta, quieta, venga, quietita.
Jessica Torres Nunez lift is, according to the referees, a good lift. 3 white lights, congratulations. We'll see more of that athlete in the clean and jerk portion of this session. Our next weight is going to be 70 kilos. It's Honduras, and it's being requested by Sofia Elman. This is her third attempt in the snatch. I told you earlier that there are some changes to this competition. I'll tell you a little bit more about them. But there's no jury, so there's no appeal for the athletes if they don't like what the referees have chosen to give them. Elman's lift is a good lift. 3 white lights. She took some time down there in the bottom position, but balanced herself and then came up. Good lift. Our next athlete, requesting 73 kilos, is Catherine Echandia of Venezuela. She just missed 73 kilos on her second attempt. This is attempt number 3.
Okay, usa su brazo, pues.
No lift for Echandia, 73 kilos. One last attempt remaining in the snatch portion of this session of the 55 kilo Group C women, and it belongs to Valentina Junkar of Colombia. She's requested 80 kilos, a 2 kilo increase over her last successful lift. Valentina Junkar, Colombia, 80 kilos.
Sí, vamos. Quietica, 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 quietica. Ahora sátala, sátala, suéltala, ya listo.
That's no lift for Junkar. They're going to wait until we go away from the camera before they go open up the wall of the tent and go get the barbell and the weights. That's the final attempt for this session. Just recapping here a little bit. 78 kilos was the best lift we saw, and that was the second attempt by Valentina Junkar. She was unsuccessful with 80 kilos on her last attempt. We have 2 athletes that have both lifted 70 kilos. Sofia Alman of Honduras on her final attempt, and Catherine Echandia of Venezuela on her first attempt. They head into the clean and jerk tied with 70 kilos. And Jessica Torres Nunez of Bolivia, 3 for 3, successful on all 3 of her lifts, finishing with 61 kilos at the conclusion of the snatch. We're going to show you some of the highlights of what I've just told you about and what you've just witnessed. And then we're going to take a little bit of a trip and see and maybe smell, hopefully taste some of the food of Uzbekistan.
And now we are going to give the opening speech to the Vice President of Uzbekistan Weightlifting Federation, Vice President of Asian Weightlifting Federation, and IWF Executive Board member, Mr. Shahrilo Mahmudov.
Assalomu alaykum, hurmatli xonimlar va janoblar, musobaqamizning aziz ishtirokchi sportchilari, barchangizning O'zbekiston Respublikasi Mustaqillik kuniga bag'ishlangan og'ir atletika bo'yicha birinchi onlayn xalqaro kubok musobaqasiga ishtirok bilan qizg'in tabriklayman va barcha ishtirokchi davlatlarga, ishtirokchi sportchilarga tashkiliy qo'mita nomidan o'z minnatdorchiligimni bildiraman. Pandemiya sharoitida Xalqaro Og'irlik Federatsiyasi tashabbusi bilan tashkil qilingan ushbu onlayn musobaqa O'zbekiston mezbonlik qilayotganligidan xursandman. Biz uchun bu katta mas'uliyat. Men o'ylaymanki, ushbu onlayn platformada bellashish davom etadi. Bugungi O'zbekiston mezbonlik qilayotgan musobaqa keyingi xalqaro onlayn musobaqalar uchun poydevor bo'lib xizmat qiladi degan umiddaman.
The pandemic situation in the world surely had a negative impact on the organization of planned competition, and in this regard, everybody is interested. What is the purpose of online competition?
Xalqaro og'ir atletika federatsiyasi hamda O'zbekiston hukumati, O'zbekiston jismoniy tarbiya va sport vazirligi, O'zbekiston Milliy olimpiya qo'mitasi bilan hamkorlikda o'tkazilayotgan ushbu onlayn musobaqaning maqsadi vazifalari shundan iboratki, sportchilarga pandemiya sharoitida ruhiy oziqa berish, uzoq vaqt xalqaro shohsupaini sog'inib qolgan sportchilarga o'z imkoniyatlarini sinab ko'rish uchun sharoit yaratish, sportchilar o'z raqiblarini bir yildan so'ng birga olimpiada o'yinlariga ishtirok etishlari lozim bo'lgan raqiblarini yaqindan his qilish va o'zlarini sinab ko'rishga imkoniyat yaratish.
In conclusion, we would like to hear your wishes to our participants.
Fursatdan foydalanib O'zbekiston hukumatiga, O'zbekiston jismoniy tarbiya va sport vazirligiga, O'zbekiston Milliy olimpiya qo'mitasiga hamda kasaba uyushmalari federatsiyasiga hamda barcha homiylarimizga o'z minnatdorchiligimizni bildiramiz. Tashkiliy qo'mita nomidan biz ushbu bizni qo'llab-quvvatlaganliklari uchun barchalaridan minnatdormiz. Ayniqsa Xalqaro og'ir atletika federatsiyasi ushbu musobaqani O'zbekistonga tashkil qilishga ijozat berganligi va bizga ishonch bildirganligi uchun shaxsan federatsiya rahbariyatiga o'z minnatdorchiligimizni bildiramiz. Men o'ylaymanki, birinchi kun boshlangan ushbu musobaqa 3 kun mobaynida juda chiroyli o'tadi. Barcha ishtirokchilarga omadlar tilaymiz va yaqin orada pandemiya sharoiti tugaydi degan umidda biza va normal pamoslarda ko'rishib, xalqaro maydonlarda bellashishga yaqin orada sazovor bo'lamiz degan umiddaman. Barchani yana bir bor ushbu musobaqada ishtirok bilan tabriklayman va o'z minnatdorchiligimni bildiraman. Bizni yaqindan qo'llab-quvvatlaganingiz uchun barchalaringizga rahmatlar aytib qolamiz. Sog' bo'linglar, salomat bo'linglar. Sportsevar O'zbekiston xalqini, hukumatimiz rahbariyatini, qolaversa butun sport ahlini mustaqilligimizning 29 yilligi bayrami bilan O'zbekiston og'ir atletika federatsiyasi nomidan hamda tashkiliy qo'mita nomidan qizg'in tabriklayman. Barchalariga mustaqilligimiz muborak bo'lsin deb qolamiz va mustaqilligimiz abadiy bo'lsin.
Start our clean and jerk portion of this women's 55 Group C session. This is the Uzbek Cup of weightlifting, completely online with athletes from around the world joining us via the worldwide interweb. 75 kilos is being requested on the bar. This is the first attempt in the clean and jerk of the Group C 55 kilo category, and it belongs to Sofia Alman, Honduras, 75 kilos, first attempt in the clean and jerk.
Vamos. Guay. No pesa. Arriba. Baja.
3 white lights from the referees. That is a good lift from Tegucigalpa, Honduras, and Sofia Alman, 75 kilos. Our next athlete is going 3 kilos heavier than that. It's Jessica Lee Torres Nunez of Bolivia. She's requesting 78 kilos for her first attempt in the clean and jerk. Torres Nunez, Bolivia.
Vamos, Jessy. Veloz, respire profundo, seguro. Estírese. Venga. Respire, puro pierna y tranqui. Tranqui. Listo. Vamos.
A good lift from Torres Nunez, Bolivia, 78 kilos. That adds to the 61 kilos she was successful with in the snatch. Our next athlete is requesting 90 kilos from Venezuela. This is Catherine Echandia. First attempt in the clean and jerk for the women's 55 kilo Group C session for Echandia, Venezuela. Once again, as we talked about earlier, not all the traditional rules are being applied here while we wait for the athlete to come out onto the platform. There's no jury, no challenge cards, no reversals, obviously. But also, since not all the traditional rules are being applied here, any records set at this competition are not accepted, and the athlete's totals can't be used to qualify for events like Chandia.
Cada uno con las piernas, sabroso. ¡Eso! Tranquilita. Cuídate. Tensión completa. Vamos. Aguanta. Va. Bien, Papi.
3 white lights and another good lift for Echandia of Venezuela. Now, we're going to our final first attempt in the clean and jerk, and that belongs to Colombia. And Valentina Juncar, 95 kilos on the bar. This is her first attempt in the clean and jerk.
Vamos, Vale. Vamos, Vale. Duro. ¡Vamos arriba! ¡Vamos arriba!
Eso, vamos. Lo tuyo, vamos.
Quieta.
Eso.
¡Baja!
Bien.
A successful lift to close off round 1 in the clean and jerk for Valentina Juncar. A good lift. We're now going to take our 30-second break where the athletes get the opportunity to make any changes that they need. To recap, heading into the clean and jerk portion, Juncar had a significant lead. She had an 8-kilo lead over Alman and Echandia, 78 kilos with 70 and 70 respectively. Well, Juncar has just stretched that out. With a 95-kilo successful lift on her first clean and jerk, she's stretched that lead. Echandia was successful with 90 kilos. She has put herself firmly in second position. The time has expired. We're going to call 80 kilos on the bar for Sofia Alman, Honduras. This is her second attempt in the clean and jerk. Alman, Honduras, 80 kilos. Good lockout position, good lift for Honduras and Alman. We need more weight. Let's call 80 kilos. Correction, let's call 83 kilos for Jessica Lee Torres Nunez. This is her second attempt in the clean and jerk. She'll be followed in lifting order by Echandia, but this time belongs to Jessica Lee Torres Nunez, Bolivia.
Venga. Duro, 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 duro. Explosivo, venga. Ya. Respire. Vertical, recto. Con todo. Quieta, 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 quieta.
Majority says that that is a good lift. This is one of these situations where two of the referees saw it as a good lift. One referee saw it as a bad lift. The majority rules that is a good lift. Now, we're looking for 95 kilos on the bar, and we're heading to Venezuela for the second attempt of Catherine Echandia. 95 kilos in the clean and jerk, the women's 55 kilo Group C session.
Vamos, Catherine. No te compliques. Vamos, parar. Así es. Vamos a trabajar las piernas, Catherine. Vamos. ¡Vamos! ¡Gana, gana! ¡Vamos! ¡Vamos, vamos! ¡Arriba! ¡Mucho aquí!
Sí, sí.
Majority decision says good lift for Catherine Echandia of Venezuela. That is 95 kilos. 98 kilos now being requested. This is the second attempt in the clean and jerk. Valentina Juncar, Colombia.
Uno vale. Berraca, berraca, vamos. No te quedes abajo.
Veloz, desplazas. Listo, vamos para arriba, vamos arriba, vamos arriba, vamos arriba, vamos arriba. Quieta. Muy firme. Muy firme. Quieta, quieta. Baja.
Bien, eso es.
3 white lights, good lift for Juncar of Colombia, 98 kilos. She's just added 3 kilos to her lead in the C session. Now, don't forget, women in the 55 kilo Group C session are the first of 3 groups to lift in this weight category. So no matter what happens in this session, we still have to wait for the B session, and we have to wait for the A session to decide who is going to be our medalists in the Group C 55 kilo category. Right now, though, with a good lead, with 98 kilos in her second clean and jerk and 78 kilos on her second snatch, Juncar has a successful and healthy lead. She's followed by Echandia. 2 out of 3 lights were white on that last attempt at 95 kilos. That puts her in good shape as well. The clock has expired. All the changes are in. It's time now to call Alaman, Honduras, 83 kilos, second attempt in the clean and jerk.
¿Cuándo se termina todo? Ella, después nosotros siguen. Sí. Sí, es vida.
Good lift for Alaman at 83 kilos. She held the jerk a few extra seconds just to make sure that she had her balance right before bringing her feet back together, and that turned out to be a good strategy for her. 86 kilos now being requested. So far, she's gone 5 for 6. This is the final attempt in the clean and jerk of Jessica Litores Nunez of Bolivia.
Yes.
Jessica Litores Nunez was successful with 61 kilos in the snatch, 83 so far in the clean and jerk, and this would add 3 more kilos to her total.
Venga. Asegura y trabe sus codos.
No lift for Jessica Litores Nunez at 86 kilos. Loaders are putting 97 kilos on the bar in Venezuela for the final attempt of Catherine Echandia of Venezuela. This is her last try at the clean and jerk, 97 kilos. This is the women's 55 kilo Group C session of the first online International Weightlifting Cup dedicated to the Independence Day of Uzbekistan.
Toca arriba.
That is no lift at 97 kilos for Catherine Echandia. Our final attempt, 100 kilos, belongs to women's 55 kilo Group C contestant Valentina Junkar, Colombia. Final attempt.
¡Vamos, Vale! ¡Vamos, Vale!
Nos salimos nomás, ¿no?
Pegadita, desplaza, velocidad. Listo. ¡Va para arriba! Tranquilo.
No lift there for Junkar at 100 kilos. As you can tell, these athletes are pushing themselves to their limits for this competition, even though it is online in their homes. Now, let's take a look at the results so far from the clean and jerk. It was 83 kilos successful for Jessica Litores Nunez. That was on her second attempt. That ties 83 kilos for Sofia Alman of Honduras, who made 83 kilos on her last attempt. 95 kilos successful for Catherine Echandia of Venezuela. And it was almost 100 kilos there on that last attempt for Valentina Junkar. Instead, she gets 98 kilos from her second attempt. The totals there, 176 for Junkar in the lead, followed by 165 for Echandia, 153 for Sofia Ailman, and Jessica Litores Nunez carries 144 kilos forward into the next opportunity, which is the B session. We'll see more of the athletes in this exact weight category in just a few moments. Let's check out the highlights from this competition so far. Thanks for joining us today at the Uzbekistan Cup weightlifting competition. That's the first of 13 sessions that you'll see over the next 3 days. We've got more sessions to come, including in just a few minutes' time, we've got the women's 55, 59, 71, and 81 kilogram B session. That starts at 11 a.m. Tashkent time. Thanks for joining us. If you like this, you can watch more of these competitions on the IWF's YouTube channel. You can check it out on ESPN Play and on Uzbekistan television. Thanks for joining us. Take care.